This is Jam, the podcast, and I'm your host, Jarvis Johnson. All right, welcome to this episode of Jam, the podcast. In this podcast, we discuss the different things that have us jammed in today's world, how to handle them, how to stay positive, and how to keep going. Today, I got a very special guest. I call him a friend, but he's more like a brother to me. We go way back, way back, coming from the same little town of Hutto, Texas. We've been locked in for a long time and had each other's back through some hard times and celebrated some good times together. I got my boy Flyboy Kane here with me. He's a father, a family man, a man of faith, a veteran in the rap game out of Austin, Texas, with tapes going all the way back to the classics, Everyday Life Music Volume 1 and 2, Can't Get No Flyer, Shocker, 3P, and a number of other features. He's had an opportunity to work with the late, great Nipsey Hussle and traveled all over the United States and even to Europe during a tour. He has a background in music. Flyboy Kane brings a wealth of knowledge. Been doing this for a long time. I'll let him tell you about that. Um, Today we're going to be discussing. He won't just be talking about music. He'll be talking about some of the things that's had him jammed up in his life, how he's overcome some of those things that have had him jammed up, and so we'll be diving into that thing. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome my boy Flyboy Kane to the podcast today. Welcome, man.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I've been listening to the last couple of podcasts you've been doing, or couple of takes you've been doing with this jammed up. I'm a big fan of it. I support you. You know how we go back. But yeah, man, you said enough as far as me being in the music for a while, and a man of faith and all that, man. So it's an honor to be on here.
Yeah, for
That's to
sure. I
say.
appreciate you coming on. So, we'll go ahead and dive on in. So, tell me a little bit about your background and what initially drew you to being in the music game.
Man, I've been a huge fan of music all my life. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, as an '80s baby, sneaking out, listening to my cousins, tapes for NWA and Bud the Law and DJ Quick. When I was too young to post to, I wasn't supposed to listen to them, but I'd be in the attic, listen to them and kind of taking notes. And then it all kind of kicked off with my cousin Frederick. Rest in peace. He started off a little group called Single Shot Mafia. He started off kind of writing music for me. So we had that little group, kind of kicked it off. It was like a group of 4 or 5 of us. And then it got to the point where I wanted to write for myself. So I started, kind of diving into myself as far as on the writing aspect of it. And then, I kind of ventured off and did my own thing. That's when I started coming out with the classics. That was my first official album. So I did that, and then did the little group thing with my homeboy Crunchy Ron and my homeboy Flyboy Beezy, the Flyboy Click. So we came out with that mixtape, and then kind of went on my own route and did Everyday Life Music Day 1 and 2, and it just kind of went from there, man. And back in the day when I was doing the classic, we went overseas, over in Macedonia, did a little tour over there. Did a lot of music, touring all over the city here, doing South by Southwest and a lot of shows all through Texas. So man, just having fun with it, man, and looking forward to putting out some new music coming up soon. So working on a new project right now. So it's something that's dear to me. I'm a family man as well, so sometimes I get caught up with the whole family thing and doing the kids and the sports stuff like that. But music is my first love, so I'm gonna put out something real soon though.
All right, so that's what's up. So, tell me, some of the artists or what inspired you to actually, really, take off in this music thing and really dive into it.
Well, definitely my number one inspiration is Tupac. This when I first, really getting into the music, like I said, I was listening to NWA coming up and DJ Quick, but the artist I really gravitated towards was Tupac. I kind of came into his music towards kind of like the end of his when he was doing All Eyes on Me and the Me Against the World, but and it just I related to a lot of his music and a lot of things he was doing. So, Tupac's probably one of my biggest inspirations. As far as hip hop in general, I'm a student of the game, so uh, Scarface, being from Texas, Ghetto Boys, UGK, Pimp C, the whole Screw movement, everything they was doing down there in Atlanta. Um, just there's a lot of different artists. Like I said, I'm a student of the game. Us being in Texas, we get a lot of whole everything from east side, from west coast to down south to east coast. So, but definitely one of my biggest inspirations is Tupac. I can say Biggie's one of those too, um, as well as like Bun B and Pimp C. I know as far as when I first came into the game, like I said, it was Tupac. As far as kind of how I want to do my verses, how I want to come in and go out, and how I want to kind of do my hooks. When I got turned on to UGK, how Bun B, how he used to ride the beat. I kind of wanted to emulate my style after that. So it's just, hip hop as a whole, you know what I'm saying? Then we got, further in the game, I look at Kendrick Lamar as a lot of inspiration too. That's where I got the everyday life music from because of, the little movement that he was putting on. And then even with Nipsey Hussle, his grind with it. So it was definitely an honor to do some music with him and stuff like that. But like I said, this in the whole is just hip hop itself. I'm a student of, and I just, I just love the culture of it.
Could you share a pivotal moment or experience that happened that helped shape your career or your personal growth as an artist?
Mm, a pivotal moment, um, I would say, just me kind of venturing off by myself, not depending on other artists. Cause when I started off, it was like I said, it was me and my cousin in a group. He was writing for me. Then I just kind of started writing for myself. And then, he was a family man as well. So I had to kind of venture off and kind of take it on as myself and like, get into the business aspect, start my own company and then write my own stuff, putting out my own projects, doing my own ideas. And even when I linked up with my homeboy Crunchy Ron and we formed a group, it's just like it always came to a situation where I was more into it, or I was more like willing to risk putting more of a risk than everyone else around me. So that was pretty much a pivotal moment for me as far as just being more like independent and honing on my craft and working on myself and believing in myself versus the people around me. So I think that was one of the pivotal moments, just like breaking away from the group and just kind of doing stuff on my own.
As an artist, especially of hip hop artists, there are a lot of misconceptions that come with that title. What are some misconceptions that people have about being a hip hop artist or the work that you do as an artist? Like what are some of the misconceptions with that?
Um, I would say maybe some of the misconceptions would be like, I think a lot of artists these days have a problem with kind of like not being a leader, not being themselves in the game. And that's something that, I kind of pride myself on. Is I don't try to, even though I like have inspiration from other artists, I kind of just try to turn it on to my own or make it into my own type of style. I don't try to emulate my stuff after nobody. I don't try to imitate anybody else's music. That's some of the misconceptions I would say is a lot of artists come in the game and they see another person's wave and they want to jump on that wave and they want to be like that artist. Like, okay, if I make music like this, then maybe I can get on faster, or maybe somebody I'll be noticed because it's the wave right now. Instead of just like kind of working on their own craft and kind of carving out their own lane and being themselves. There's a lot of artists that they emulate what somebody else or what's hot right now. And and that's what happens with the wave thing is like it's hot right now, but originality kind of like is playing the long game when you're doing originality. When you're trying to just ride somebody else's wave, it's not too much longevity in that.
You know, like I said, you've been in the game for a while, been rapping for a while, and you've had the luxury, like, because when we first started listening to hip hop, like older artists, and I'm not calling you old per se, but like it wasn't a thing for artists to rap into their 30s and 40s and things like that. Even though you're seeing it more and more now with the guys like Snoop and E40 and Bun B, and those guys are up in their 40s. How would you say an artist could stay up to date with the industry trends and the different things that are happening? Because obviously, the way you record music way back when is different than now, especially with AI and the way beats are made, so on and so forth. So, how does an artist stay up to date with those kind of advancements?
I think an artist staying up to date is kind of, just staying true to yourself. It does, it doesn't matter how much this hip hop or music in general advances. There's always a formula to it. There's a formula to this hip hop. You gotta, to make a great project, because it goes further than just making this a hot single. A hot single only gets you so far. It's gonna, at the end of the day, it's gonna have to be a great project. And to make a great project, it's a formula to it. You got to be able to have a good beat selection, know what's as far as a good beats to pick out. You got to have substance. You got to be able to rap. Know your audience and rap to stuff that people can relate to, what the masses can relate to. And because you don't, it is not. And a lot of artists fall into the aspect of you have to be gangster. You got to be, like talking about trapping, and you don't really have to do that. It's just like you have to say what's true. You have to stick what's true to you because yeah, I'm not a gangster rapper and I'm not a trapping type rapper, but there's a million people that can relate to the stuff that I talk about. And just like for instance, like Too Short, Too Short that he don't ever be on the track rapping gangster and talking about trap stuff. He sticks to the stuff that's true to him, and this he has a wide fan base that can relate to that. And it's a lot of people like to put like what you were saying, as far as you're seeing a lot more artists that are, getting into their 30s and 40s and older and still able to make impact in this game. And one of the biggest examples is Killer Mike. Killer Mike, he just swept, the Grammys, and he's in 30s or 40s or whatever, and he just made a classic album. And if you listen to that Killer Mike album, it kind of comes from an aspect of, he's not trying to be gangster or saying trap, but he's saying it from his perspective of him being in them situations and how to make it out of them situations or things he didn't seen. He's not saying it from an aspect of one point of like, oh, he's just selling drugs or he's just, murdering people or doing some gang banging stuff. He's saying all aspects of the game as far as like being, having a relative that's a junkie, from different type of aspects. So that's, I mean, I think the main thing these days and to have longevity in the game is just staying true to yourself, saying your story, say what's true to you. That's what made Kendrick Lamar be how he is now because he's saying he's not coming off as like even though he grew up in the Mad City, as he would say, he's not coming off as the gang banging type. He has a different lens as far as him being a good kid in the Mad City and saying that, the different type of aspects the different type of aspects he's seen the game from and how he grew up and seen it. So that's how, that's the type of things that I try to stay true to. Like, I don't ever look at it as a, everyone, I don't look at it as an age thing because they don't do that to other genres. They don't do that to country or R&B. They have country singers that's 60, 70, and 80 that's doing this. But rap, they want to, a lot of people want to say, oh, you're too old to rap, or, it's no age on it. It's just you got to stay true to yourself. You got to say your story, and there's going to be millions of people that's going to be able to feel your story.
Can you okay, so let's look back at your music career. Give me an achievement or a project or something that you were really proud of. Like when you finished it, you were like, "Man, I'm proud. I'm happy I did that."
Um, an achievement, I would say, doing the everyday life musics. Because those really were the projects that that I kind of ventured off and kind of really got into my own lane and didn't because at the time when I was doing everyday life musics, um, I really wanted to. A lot of those tracks was for my group project for the Flyboy Click, but other people had, my other people in the group had stuff going on or wasn't as serious as I was and wasn't trying to go in the same direction that I was trying to go with it. So I just had to kind of venture off, and at that time it was kind of like I had to kind of hone in on my craft because I was so used to writing just one verse in the hook and somebody else write the verse, another verse to kind of finish the song or whatever. So I wasn't really used to writing, two verses, three verses, and things like that. So I think those kind of made made me into a better artist as far as being able to be like, okay, I'm gonna write two or three verses, or I'm gonna write three verses. Because nowadays you don't see, you rarely find a project where somebody got three verses. It's always one or two verses or one hook and we out. So in that project I was able to do two verses, three verses, and kind of not have as many features and not rely on features. So that's one of the proud moments, and that kind of shaped me into the artist I am now, and made me feel like I can do it all by myself. I don't need anybody else. And another proud moment is the situation with Nipsey Hussle, because Nipsey Hussle, as you know, we or I am a big fan of Nipsey Hussle. So just it was it was quite a moment to be able to be like, man, just finding out this artist and turning people on to him and being a big fan. Because anybody knows me, they know, like, if I find out about an artist, I'm turning everybody on I know on to their music or whatever. So to be look at Nipsey Hussle like that, and then having to connect with my cousin Les and be able to connect and go in the studio with Nipsey Hussle, and see how he records, how he carries himself in the studio, and how he comes up with his music. And then even after that, being connected with him, going to his shows and stuff, and then seeing how he does his stage work. That was a pivotal moment. And also, I say one of the most pivotal moments as far as outside of the recording part is the stage performance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I first started out, I always would go on the stage with, like, and you see artists like that these days too. I would always go on the stage with shades on, or I go on the stage with, like, because the shades to kind of like block out the anxiety of the stage fright. And one day we was at a show, and me and you was at a show, and this one cat called $1 Million Baby, he was sitting there and just you know, staring and staring at the cats in their eyes, and like he was staring at us in our eyes, and we were like, damn, it could feel like he was performing to us, but he was
Yeah.
doing that to everybody out there in the crowd. And I
Yeah.
know the impact he made on us, he made on everybody else in that crowd too. So, from then on out, I was like, man, I got to be like that, and then from there on out, when I did shows, I would hit you up, and you'd be like, "Man, you got $1 Million Baby out of him," and I knew
Yeah.
what you was talking about when you said that. And it just, I can feel how I was able to touch the people in the crowd by staring at them. How I was able to be animated, and they could feel what I'm saying, even if they couldn't hear what was coming out of the mics. Because sometimes you do shows, mics be messed up. That's one of the strongest points I have as an artist is, and I can go a long way with any artist. When you can put out a good track, but I see a lot of even big artists, when you see them do shows, they not as animated, or they're not really connecting with the crowd as they should be, or you would think they should be at the point that they're in. But I can honestly say that's one of my strongest points of, like, I know I'm gonna kill a show because of I can really connect with the crowd.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Nipsey Hussle, the legend that he is, and the $1 Million Baby. I remember both of those, and both of those do stick out um, to me very well. So, all right. So, moving on. As a I'm an educator, and I see young adults all the time, and I run into young men all the time, and they say, I'm gonna be a rapper, or I want to rap, or I rap, or whatever. What advice would you give someone that's starting out in the rap industry today, like a young man that is, saying, I'm gonna be a rapper? What advice would you give him, or her, for that matter?
Man, the biggest advice I would give is just be yourself. Don't try to emulate or imitate other artists that you see. I mean, it's okay to draw inspiration from other artists, but make your own craft, carve out your own lane. It's and at the same time, you know, m- make sure you're at a point in your life where you can put your all into it. You know what I'm saying? Because one of the things I could say is, you know, I love this music, but at the same time, I love my family. I love my kids too. So that takes a lot away from the of effort and grind I can put into music because I invest a lot of time and grind into my family, to my kids. So if any artist I would say coming up, I would definitely say be yourself, carve out your own lane, or try to imitate anyone else. But at the same time, make sure you able to put your all into the grind because it takes a lot, and it's a lot of hats that you might have to wear at the beginning of this. As far as you might have to do your own promotions, you might have to, find your own beats. As far as writing your lyrics and things like that, you might have to record yourself. So just make sure whatever you do that you want to put your all into it, and make sure that you're able to have the time to dedicate, everything that you need to put into it. I mean, it takes a lot of money and stuff. Make sure you have your funds right first, that you're able to invest into the game because it's gonna take money. But at 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 the at the least, like I said, you just want to be yourself. You want to be able to dedicate your time and just stick with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be a lot of times where you're gonna feel like giving up. It's gonna be times where you're gonna feel like this ain't the people ain't feeling you. But this really work on your craft and really just dedicate yourself and be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be your biggest critic and at the same time just like I said, don't try to be like anybody else. Just be like yourself. Find your own niche in the game. Find your own lane and just stick to it.
How important is networking and building relationships in this industry?
Man, networking is probably the biggest thing that you can do in this industry. It's a lot of people who don't have talent that they have a great, able to network, and networking itself can get them in a situation where they're able to be successful, versus somebody who has a lot of talent. Um, it's people that have a lot of talent, but they're kind of like shy, or they're not like, people person or whatever. They're not able to network like that. And that kind of would, hold them back versus a person who was able to network. Because, networking goes a long way, especially if you have someone who can speak on your behalf. That's what one of my cousins told me. Is like, you can speak on yourself, you can speak on yourself, but it says a lot when somebody can speak on your behalf. So that's a part of networking itself. So even in this point in the game, when I reach out to different producers or artists, or try to line myself up with shows, and I'm emailing people, I email them from an aspect of like, I got this artist named Flyboy Kane. They don't even know that I'm talking about myself, but I got this artist named Flyboy Kane, and then when I get to the show, they think, they talking to David, but hey, this is Flyboy Kane. I'm talking on behalf of myself. So just networking goes a long way. I mean, network is probably more important than the actual art itself. Sad to say, because and as you can see, it is a lot of people are blowing up off social media that don't have any talent. And social media is probably the biggest way of networking in this day and age, that we have right now. So you can make yourself known on social media and not really have any talent, and still and go platinum and get all type of buzz. So it's a plus, if you got the talent and you can network. So I will work on, you know, for artists coming up, I will work on networking just as hard as I would work on your craft. Um, and that's and like I said, performing. If you can master performing and networking and your craft, then you can't lose.
Okay, so you talked earlier about your family and the work life balance, and so tell us how you do that. As an artist, and you're still writing. I know it's hard to get things done when you have a family, because I know the family is your number one priority.
Yeah.
And that may not have always been the case in your younger years when you were rapping, but as you get older, and I'm the same way, the family becomes the number one thing. I'm a coach, and when I was younger, coaching was the number one thing, but now family is the number one thing. So how do you maintain a work life balance, and tell me some of the activities you like doing outside of rapping? We talked a lot about rapping. Tell me some of the other things that Flyboy Kane does as a family man, as a father.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, maintaining it and kind of like juggle that. Uh, hip hop and work life balance, man, it's an everyday struggle, but it's like, as a man, as we grow, you learn day by day, and like, it's been an ongoing struggle with me because, when we have kids as fathers, like you said earlier coming up, the music, it was all about the music. I always say that the music was like one of my kids. It's like, I love my music just like how much I love my kids, but as my kids get older or as I have more kids, it's like, no, it ain't like that no more. it's like it's like I love my music, but my kids depend on me. So it's been many times where I've been like, I'm gonna go to studio next week or next month, but then, my kid, if school time comes around, they need books, they need clothes, you know what I'm saying, or this bill comes and I got to keep this on, or you know what I'm saying, and you know especially as a father, like coming up how we have or whatever, not having no father, it's a very important part of being, that person for your kids. Like, I want this career real bad, but at the same time, I want to be there for my kids even more. I want my kids to have that father that I didn't have even more than this music. So if I got to sacrifice anything, I'll sacrifice that part to be there for my kids. So it gets to the point where, like, when you're younger, you're able to when you don't have any kids, you're able to invest in yourself more than anything. That's why I was saying earlier with the artists coming up, make sure that you in a situation where you can really invest in yourself, because you can, you can you can have kids, and then it kind of like you be at that point where, like, man, these kids need this, so it's like, and that's kind of like the point that I'm at. It's like, my kids, they getting older now, so it's like to the point where I'm like, man, I need to invest in them, because they might have a career, that they can benefit us all, so,
Yeah.
but outside of the music thing, that that's my main thing, it's my kids. If I'm out doing music, I'm out on the football field with my son, or I'm out, playing basketball, doing basketball, coaching his basketball teams, or helping with my daughter's softball. I'm practicing with her, because, just like in the music, when I get up on the stage, I don't wanna put on a bad show. I don't wanna fail. When they go out on the football field, that baseball field, or whatever, I don't want to see them fail. Us as parents, if you're a real dad, if your kids out there struggling, or they not performing to their best potential, that you look at it like it's you. You're like, man, I need to do something. I need to go out there and practice. We need to go out there and pitch. We need to go out there and, and shoot or whatever. So outside of the music thing, that's my main focus, is investing in them, whether it's like, spending time with them, or playing games with them, or teaching them about life, doing sports with them, stuff like that. That'd be my main thing outside of the music.
Okay. As we finish up, obviously the name of this podcast is Jammed. Okay. Some of the things that had you jammed. So real quick, I got a couple more questions here. How do you handle stress in your daily life, your professional life, your personal life? How does Flyboy Kane handle stress?
How do I handle stress? I mean, these days, and I, man, I've grown. I came a long way as far as handle stress. I cut out a lot of things, a lot of coping mechanisms that I used to do to handle stress. Nowadays, man, when stress comes about, it's a mental thing. So it's like, whenever something comes about, I try to handle things head on. But if sometimes some stress in some situations is out of your hands. So it's like, I just sit back and I try to watch things play out. And with the mind frame, it's gonna play out in my favor. It's gonna work out for me. It don't matter how it happens, how the situation turns out. I know it's gonna happen in my favor. Either it's gonna be a lesson or it's gonna be a blessing. So I don't try to really stress on the situations I can't control. I just try to be like, I try to vision the outcome that I would like to happen. If it don't happen, I know it's still happening in my favor. And I find out, I've learned that with that type of mind frame, you'll see that it does work out in your favor. You'll see that, like, you'll learn something from it, or it happens just the way that you want it to happen or even better. You know what I'm saying? Because stressing, I learned that stressing about a situation don't, doesn't necessarily solve the situation. It just make you lose sleep or, give you headaches and stuff. So I just try to I try to meet things head on. I know what the outcome I want it to be. And, if it don't be that outcome, I know that I still benefit from it. When the stuff get, because I've been through a lot of stuff in my life that a lot of people that might not be able to make it from or be able to hold their head up from or be able to make it through. So I know a lot of my toughest days, a lot of my most stressful days are behind me, because I'm able to be in the mind frame of knowing everything is working out for my benefit. So, whether it's hitting the gym, and the thing about stressing too is like just getting your mind off of it. So, ways to get my mind off of it. I don't, I've been saying to my homeboys lately, like, I don't try to smoke it out. I don't try to drink it out. I just try to sit with it and just go through it. You know what I'm saying? And if I either hit that gym or I get out and do so with my kids or write some music, to get my mind off of it and just know that it's gonna happen the way it's gonna happen regardless. It's gonna be my benefit regardless. So just staying in that mind frame helps me get through the stress.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say that I don't really be stressed like that. I don't be depressed like that. I just know that, every level of life that you go through, there's gonna be some trials and tribulations. You just got to know that. And, life gonna get good. It has to be a equal balance of everything. So life's gonna get good, and when life gets real good, just know there's some challenges coming with that
Yeah, for sure.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Give me your favorite book or a book that you're reading right now to give to the people.
Oh man, favorite book. That's crazy. So
Or
you
just get
said,
or just tell me a book that you're reading right now. It don't have to necessarily be your favorite, one that's really reached out to you.
um, definitely my favorite book is oh, what's that book called? I'm reading a book right now called it's emotion something about emotions 2.0. I forgot the real name of it. But my favorite book of all time probably is The Secret. Um when I read The Secret, man, it just kind of opened my eyes to a lot of different things as far as controlling the way you thought and kind of how you look at life and how you take on different situations in life. So I say probably The Secret is probably one of my favorite books.
Yeah, you let me borrow the secret, and I'll say the same thing. That kind of changed my outlook on, how you thought about stuff, and what you think is what you're gonna get, pretty much. And so you let me borrow that book, and I read it, and I felt the same way about it. All right, as
Yeah.
we wrap it up here, looking ahead, what are some of your goals or aspirations for the next few years?
Looking ahead, some of my goals is making getting a lot further in this music and being able to live off this music. That's for sure. Definitely being able to be there for my kids more as far as putting them, setting them up for better opportunities as far as things that they want to succeed in, and just being a better person, being controlling my emotions, controlling how I think about things, how I treat people, and kind of look at people as the treat people as I want to be treated type stuff. This at the end of the day, just be a better person and just make a better opportunities for my family and my kids and be able to live off this music. That's what I want to know my biggest goal.
All right, time for me to jam you up. You ready?
I'm ready.
With you being a hip hop artist, give me your top 5 hip hop artists right now.
Oh man, top five
Right
hip hop
now.
artists. Kendrick for sure. That's without a doubt. Top five Kendrick. Mm, alive, right?
Alive, yep, alive. Right now in the game. We're gonna do dead or alive next. So
um,
alive. Give me 5. Do I have to start a timer?
Nah, don't do the timer. I was definitely
No
Kendrick.
order. Just give me 5. No order. Just give me 5.
Mm, that's a hard one. Kendrick, Larry June, mm, Larry June. I could say Lil Wayne. Uh, I know a lot of people want me to say Eminem, but I ain't gonna say Eminem. But um, I mean, he definitely, even though he hasn't put out any projects, I would definitely say Scarface. Scarface. I mean, he always in there for me, and that's a hard one because I know even if I name the fifth one, when I get off this little interview, I'm gonna think like, damn, I should have said him. I should have said him. But Jay Worthy, that's I rock to Jay Worthy.
All right. Now, dead or alive. This one ought to be a little easier for you.
Oh, did a lot. That's easy. That's Tupac. Uh, still Kendrick. Nipsey. Um, oh, that's crazy because I should have said this earlier, but Pimp C. Um, and Jay-Z for sure.
All right. Excluding yourself, best artist out of Texas. Dead or
Best
alive.
artist. Oh, okay, well, Kiki, he talented man.
Little Kiki
Uh,
talented, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kiki, Pimp C for sure. Uh, Bumby, I'd say for sure. Scarface for sure. That's crazy who that next one would be, especially if we're not talking about me. Um,
I would have Roe on my list. You already know
oh
that.
yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm glad you said that. Row. Yeah, definitely Row. I don't know.
Can't leave out.
I should have. He should have been in the top five of the other ones too.
Yeah, yeah. Zeros. We lucky
One-
to have him being out of Texas. He's definitely a legend in the rap game, and we lucky to have him from our state. So, all
Yeah,
right, you
Zero is
know,
definitely a legend. And now that you say that, he definitely been in them other top fives I was talking about. But yeah,
yeah,
Zero is a legend, and a lot of them people in that top five, they probably would name Zero too.
yeah. Zero, yeah. Zero, the king of the ghetto. He's a legend for sure. All right. Well, man, I appreciate you coming out. How can as we wrap this up, just let the people know how they can reach you, how they can find you, what platforms they can find you on, and then we're gonna get up out of here.
Yeah, man, you can find me on Flyboy Kane 512 on everything. Whether it's Instagram, X, I guess you don't call it Twitter no more. Uh, Snap, TikTok is Flyboy Kane 512. My website, www.flyboykane512.com. And if you wanna do some collabs, book Flyboy Kane 512.
For sure, man. I appreciate you coming out, man. This is that boy Flyboy Kane.
Appreciate it, man.
If you're not tapped in with him or you're not listening to him, then you'll probably be jammed up.
For sure.
Thanks for tuning in.
Alrighty, appreciate it, bro.